Imagine 10 to 15 years from now, your young and innocent 10-year-old daughter comes home from her first day of 5th grade, tears streaming down her face, saying she got raped. Now, would you take her life, her childhood, and not let her get an abortion? Well, I'm sure that there are other teenage girls in the audience like myself. I know I couldn't imagine being put in a situation like this. And I'm sure you couldn't either. Hello, I'm Zalia, and you are watching today's segment of The Feed. In the United States, a historic and far-reaching decision has been made by the Supreme Court officially reversing Roe v. Wade, declaring that state government can decide if they want to legalize or criminalize abortion. This recent change has caused quite a concern in our society, making us wonder if we can really trust these men in power. According to Hans and French, Australia historically has fallen in line with the United States laws, showing we do have a number of reasons to be concerned for our own contraceptive laws. Here in Australia, a number of concerned citizens have been discussing the very real possibility of what this might mean for our own laws. Recently, our new Premier David Christofoley has been under fire when several articles came to light of his twisted and inhumane views on abortion. Now suddenly, he's come out saying that he's all for abortion when he realized how deeply something like this could affect his chances of winning the election. Now, I'm all for changing your perspective, but hasn't this man been known to lie before? Should we really trust his words when his actions have said different? Medicare has been a safe haven for all Australians, knowing they won't be charged an arm and a leg for a flu shot, or at least having that comfort of knowing that they'll receive their reimbursements. But suddenly, we've gone back to 1950, and abortion doesn't seem like healthcare deserving of public funding. According to NH, the physical health concerns that pregnancy can cause are very alarming, in some cases threatening the life of the woman or forcing her to birth a stillborn child. When governments take away these safe options of abortion, it forces women to seek unsafe and illegal treatments that will more than likely put their own life at risk, presenting a concerning fatality risk, not just in Australia, the whole world. As stated by the World Health Organization, more than 45% of induced abortions have been in illegal circumstances. In a time that women are forced to choose between their own future or their unwanted child with nowhere to turn for the medical help that they need, they will more than likely turn to dangerous and extreme methods to remove the fetus, undeniably using harsh and unsanitary tools. This likely ending in infection, hemorrhaging, or according to the World Health Organization, 13% of these procedures will end in maternal death. These, however, are just the immediate health concerns presented, as it is near impossible to predict the long-term health problems, which can not only impact their quality of life, but increase the risk of psychological problems that will more than likely result in suicide or self-harm. So how does removing abortion healthcare affect teen mental health? Well, as teenagers, we're known for being emotional, always needing that little bit of extra support, which really, when you consider all the hormonal changes happening, that support is very necessary and fundamental to grow these healthy coping and living strategies. So essentially, by taking away these abortion rights, you are placing these young females in extreme emotional and physical burden when they are already at an exceptionally vulnerable state of their life. Now, just imagine you're in school, trying to enjoy life when you have millions of exams and assignments, and you find out that you've unexpectedly fallen pregnant. Too scared to tell your parents, or too scared to raise a child on your own, what do you think this would do to your mental state? In the meantime, what the government has done to educate us on safe sex to prevent things like this occurring. Research consistently shows that being forced to carry an unplanned pregnancy to term can lead to heightened levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Yet that's never been taken into consideration. I mean, what can we expect when we have mainly 65-year-old men who have never experienced a moment of pain in crucial positions of power? Can you believe that pro-lifers take to the internet with the main ignorant argument that it's unfair to take the life of a human being? Basing off the logic of these geniuses, it's not okay to take a life of the fetus that, may I add, can't see, can't feel, have zero pain centers, and no concept of being alive up until 24 weeks. But it's okay to ruin the life of the mother, easily putting her in a position of possible death, depression, and a loss of life value when she can very much see, feel copious amounts of emotions, and have very real and active pain centers. This seems a bit contradicting, doesn't it? Legal access to abortion needs to be consistent through all of Australia when considering the devastating cases of rape and assault, as this respects their autonomy and the overall rights of their body. Currently in Australia, the laws of abortion are that it's legal up until 22 weeks of gestation. But if we are to follow in the footsteps of the United States, what are our laws going to be in 5 years? Imagine being forced to bear a child all the way through to term, having that constant reminder of the assault that occurred to you. Having to love and care and protect a child that was made through an act of violence is not only just a physical burden, but an extreme emotional one. Denying this medical care to a teenager will cut the traumatic wounds even deeper, postponing the healing that they were meant to experience after being stripped of their dignity. Do you want to be the reason that this happens to a little girl who had their whole life to make something of herself?
What's your thoughts on abortion?
Well, what about in cases of rape?
Yeah, I think just we'll put that one. Maybe you didn't.
No, we can talk about that one. But every single time the abortion argument is brought up, this very specific case is brought up. Let's be honest. That's less than 0.1% of.
But in those cases,
As you can just see from the clip that I just showed you, Andrew Tate is just one of the straight white bigots that believe abortion is murder, because only 0.1% of cases of pregnancy are rape. Is he serious? Does he know the number of teenage girls that suffer each year because of rape? Or is he just too ignorant to understand? It shows the limited education that a lot of men don't have surrounding these topics, almost clouding their judgment on real-life scenarios. It's upsetting that our generation and many to come must face the consequences of conceiving children out of acts of violence just because everyone ignored the facts that we pushed in their faces. But this is just one example of one cold, awful man's perspective. So where is our future heading? But in this minute alone that I've been talking to you about this, 1,000 teens have just been assaulted. But, Andrew, I thought only 0.1% of teens got raped. As you can see from this, a violent pattern has been shown throughout governments over the years when you consider the pain and the trouble this will cause if abortion rights aren't advocated for. With the increasing risk of suicide amongst teens, it's essential that abortion remains a safeguard to prevent the emotional and physical burden that comes with these circumstantial needs for abortion. By enforcing the right to choose, it upholds the societal needs and rights of teenagers, not just in Australia, but globally. Abortion is not just a matter of women getting to make a fundamental choice on their bodies. It's an act of compassion, it's an act of justice and protection. Here is what you can do as a teenager. You can sign your local petitions about abortion, get involved with rallies, and simply speak up whenever you can. Just you and me. Together, we can make a change.